Well, it's an absolutely beautiful morning in April in Oklahoma City, and we're going to give you a little tour of the Oklahoma City Zoo. It's not going to be a long tour, it's going to be kind of superficial because there are so many school groups here today, and we want to be respectful of that. But we're going to shop a little bit for some ideas here at the zoo that they've used in landscaping that we might be able to bring home to our own residential gardens. I'm curious to see what it's like now. I haven't been here in 20 years, and the emphasis is a lot more, it seems, on being a botanical garden than just a zoo. Zoo's kind of falling out of popularity, maybe deservedly so a little bit. So it's going to be fun. It's a beautiful space. It is very, very highly ranked. It's in the top 10 of zoos in the country. So what do you say?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Well, the first thing that I'm struck with immediately when we walk in the door is a really good tip for all of us when we're doing container plantings. And that is the larger the better. And look at the scale of these. Now, obviously, these aren't of a size that you would use in your own residence, in your own residential garden. But nevertheless, it still belies the point that the bigger, the better. And these have been planted with, Stuart was asking me what this was. These are just kales that have then gone to seed and are flowering. And they were accompanied by some little, what are the, kind of a pumpkin colored pansy.
Hiding under there?
Yeah, hiding under there, but these are white, and so I think they must be beautiful at night. And these are just arborvitaes. So it's just a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a hexagon of really huge planters. You could do this on a smaller basis and really make something pretty dramatic. These are really beautiful bicolored roses. And that looks like it might be 9 bark. Now, I haven't been here in a while, so this is going to be kind of fun. Oklahoma City Zoo is a real jewel in the crown of Oklahoma City, and in 2023, I think there was a listing in USA Today. It's definitely in the top 10, and in that list of them in 2023, I think it came in at number 6, so it's pretty incredible. And it's not only a fabulous zoo, but it's also officially a botanical garden. Okay, so we are here at Gus the honey badger's home. And some of the plantings around here are really incredible. Now take a look at it from this view. I'm going to guess that all of the plantings here are probably natives. Now, I should have done my due diligence and really talked to one of the botanists that works here at the zoo, but some of this I'll be able to find out afterwards. I'm going to guess that this white flowering tree is some kind of flowering dogwood, but I will let you know as soon as I discover exactly what it is. They are really kind of in a drift everywhere throughout the zoo, and in the spring they're simply spectacular, and I think they would be a great addition to a residential landscape. So as soon as I find out, I will pass that on to you. Something else that I want to show you, and you can see it here from up on one of the walkways, is a crossvine that is covering just this kind of otherwise just kind of a homely concrete wall. So let's go down to the lower level so you can see it in its totality, an expanse of it from the lower level. Well, here's an idea of something that I've already brought home to the cottage, and these are Yopon hollies. And Yopon hollies are native to Oklahoma, and look at the triple trunk or multi-trunk. These are shaped a little bit differently than what I've got at the cottage, but nevertheless, they're beautiful, putting out all sorts of new growth. These look like they're probably relatively new plantings because they're staked. And then look over this way and look at that beautiful crossvine. And they've just got it growing on some expanses of pretty heavy wire running across the wall. It's beautiful, it's easy, it's tough, and this does well in Oklahoma. So let's put a check mark by crossvine as an idea you could bring home to your garden. Okay, now if you're like me and you come upon a plant that is unfamiliar to you, you can use a Google scan to try to identify the plant. And I did that with the beautiful flowers on this plant, and it came up as Malus fusca, with the common names Oregon crabapple and Pacific crabapple, a species of crabapple native to western North America. So there you go, this must be a native. And we will try to get a little bit more information and put that up for you. Now here's an unusual idea that I'd completely forgotten about until I saw all of these graphic patterns on this concrete wall here. And that is, if you have an expanse of a uninteresting building, a concrete wall or something like that, these look like they've been stucco, then you can put some kind of motif and stencil it on the exterior of that building. Now, what reminded me of this is, and this is a bring it home, is because my sister Terry in North Carolina did something similar on the outside of one of her buildings. It's really fabulous. I believe we must be getting close to the elephants because it looks like it's some kind of African motif, but that's a really cool idea if you want to dress up the exterior of something, or a panel even, of something that might be a little bit blah, but you can jazz it up. Now here's a plant I would not encourage you to take home. We talked earlier about the crossvine, and some of it is growing up through this horse's tail, but you do not want to plant this at your home because it is extremely invasive. It will go absolutely everywhere. You can see how it's already jumped the confines of its concrete home in this wetland area garden. So it is just, let's just say it is not resident garden friendly. Now here is a look with crossvine that you might want to replicate. Rather than horsetails, get some kind of crossvine to grow up and through a conifer of sorts. I'm not sure what it is, but that looks really, really neat. And it almost looks as if the tree itself is blooming, but it's just that crossvine growing up through it. So that's a really, really good look you might want to emulate at home. Okay, here's a way to infuse some color into your landscape. This is a Salvia lemonii. I found the exact variety because I checked it out on Google. I have a similar form of this in my own garden that's in a deep purple, but this fuchsia color is really gorgeous. Look at over here. We've got some in kind of a poppy color.
Oh wow, it did change.
It's probably a little bit of a different variety, but look how beautiful. Look at how gorgeous that is. Let's hold right there, Stuart, because look at how beautiful that looks against that white wall. So that's a beautiful color combination, a beautiful tableau, and a wonderful effect. If you've got any kind of white facade or even a pale buff color facade, that would be a beautiful contrast and floral combo. Well, here is a category of plants that have recently become pretty popular, and that's those 9-barks over there with kind of the purple rust-colored leaves. I don't know if that's Diablo or not. I do recognize the little friend next to it, the Chartreuse Lemon Lime Nandina, so I am happy to see that there. And then it looks like in the distance there's some kind of holly and a very interesting sculpture. Well, here is a really interesting effect that you might want to try to replicate in your own garden. So right here, there's a vitex growing. And then next to it, there's a smoke bush with purple foliage. And look at how they've allowed a branch of that smoke bush to kind of crawl through the interior of the vitex. So the vitex is just coming out. But the smoke bush looks like it's got a little bit more foliage on it, and that's kind of a cool effect. So if you like a plant that is dark purple, here's another example, a much larger example. And I can really see this in a contemporary garden. in a modern garden, because all of these little florets that you see here right now, those are going to explode into what just looks like puffs of pink smoke, pinkish purple smoke. So they've got it planted here, and they just are allowing it to grow in its natural state, it looks like. And there's a number of them over here, and both of them kind of frame the view that looks out to the lake. And then it looks like they've got some crepe myrtle in here, and I'm not sure what variety that is, but look at how beautifully the light captures the foliage on that crepe myrtle, because it looks like its new growth, when it comes out, has a reddish tinge to it that looks beautiful with the smoke bush, a great color echo. And then those just look to be like really large Nellie Stevens hollies or something in the background. Boy, if you've got a large property, more of a woodland vibe, lots of space, then I love Spanish bluebells. In some areas, they can also, I don't want to say invasive, but they can romp a little bit too aggressively. But I think they're absolutely beautiful. I've had them in the past in very small quantities, but I really think for them to be impressive, they need room to romp. And they've got a whole drift of them through here that they are no doubt hoping will spread. Now, I don't know if that hollowed out tree trunk in the distance is faux or real, but definitely the one in the foreground is. And that's a great idea if you're looking for a special kind of aesthetic in your garden. I even did it at the fairy tale house when a huge branch was felled during an ice storm, and I just left it there in place, made it kind of a little bench, and then we just landscaped around it. But here it's a completely different look. It's much more southwest, and that could be a very, very cool thing to serve as a garden ornament in your landscape to get kind of a southwest, more desert-like feel. Now this reminds me, this is a plant I really want to have in my landscape someplace. It may have to be in one of the forgotten places, but I adore flowering quince. This is a color that's a deep, deep red, and look at how beautiful it is when backlit by the sun. This one is huge. It's what looks like 6 feet, 7 feet tall, but it's really beautiful. And look at the little pollinators. Little pollinators everywhere. Sometimes we think of pollinators as just being things like bees and butterflies and such, but practically every flying insect is some kind of pollinator. Okay, so the giraffes are very close to us right now. Hubs was remembering when we saw them wild on the savannah in the Salou Game Reserve in Tanzania many, many years ago. This is very sad. Giraffes were thought to be common throughout much of Africa, but research has shown that wild giraffe populations are decreasing and only 10% of their historical range remains. That is a really, really sad statistic. But aren't they amazing creatures? Okay, carnivore care. Animals at the Oklahoma City Zoo participate in their own care. Caretakers use positive reinforcement, such as the animal's favorite food, to shape and reward specific behaviors.
Like sleeping.
Okay, this is the kind of place that I would have normally passed up, but now that I've got a granddaughter on the way, a lot of this stuff is a temptation to me that didn't used to be. And if you're wondering what really caught my eye, it would be one of these. These are so cute, and I love the way they hang. But this giraffe, well, it's pretty special too. Okay, here's a plant that I recognized, and I've got some of it planted just in the foreground on the berm of Autumn's Edge. Mine is blooming, will bloom, hopefully eventually, in blue. This blooms in yellow. I love the color of the foliage. Yeah, I love the color of the foliage. And it takes a while to get established, but it's absolutely beautiful, I think. I love the spiky flowers. They've got a big mound here, and it looks like they've got some mounds over there. Is that a different color or the same color? Let's explore. Okay, now Stuart, some of us have swimming pools in the backyard. Some of us have trampolines. But I think we all need a good looking wallow like that to wallow in the mud and in the gravel. I really do like the way it looks. I love that rope and post combo. It could be a neat surround for something. Now, probably one of the highlights of our existence, of our marriage together, was when we saw wildebeest migration. I don't think when we saw it, Hubs, that there were zebras along with it, but it was pretty spectacular. We were in Tanzania, and it was breathtaking. Probably not unlike seeing the buffalo running across the prairie. Well, maybe the only thing more beautiful than a lilac-colored red bud in bloom in the spring is a white bud. And this is a beautiful specimen. Most of the flowers are starting to dry and fall off. But what a gorgeous example of a white bud tree. I've always wanted to have one, and maybe I need to find a location. Now that is going to be a challenge. Now, something that I think sometimes is underestimated, and that is the value of picking out a beautifully shaped tree from the outset. So this is a redbud tree, but look at its gorgeous, gorgeous form. It's low branching, but it's pruned high and pruned beautifully so you can see through its canopy, just the effect that I like to achieve at my own home. And this is just a beautiful specimen. It's got this really gorgeous open chalice shape that's almost like a sorbet cup shape. It's really, really beautiful. And boy, this would be a find if you saw it in a nursery. Now this makes me kind of sad. They've actually got a couple of bison here. And for them not to be in their local habitat, which is just a matter of miles from here, seems kind of sad to me. Maybe the ones that are here are really old and maybe compromised in some way, because what we did to the buffalo is just, what the government did was just a tragedy. But they have been restored, and if you want to see some of them in the wild, go to the Wichita Wildlife Game Reserve in southwest Oklahoma. Okay, well that was just a very quick trip through the zoo, a fun way to spend a beautiful morning before the heat sets in this summer. And thank you guys for hanging out with me. It was a quick trip, and probably my biggest observation is that it's becoming much more of a botanic garden than a zoo. It seemed to me that there's a lot fewer animals, but a lot more interest in the experience of just coming to a really beautiful place that's been beautifully and natively landscaped. So if you're in the Oklahoma City area, I highly recommend it. It's a lot different than it was 20 years ago when I was last here with my boys.